All right, and we are back. This is NHL 18, Franchise Mode, Calgary Flames. This is episode 30, as we are set to start the month of December here in the 2019-2020 season. So welcome to episode 30. The Calgary Flames have spiraled off, if you will, a little bit there in the month of November after such a hot start to the 2019-2020 season as the defending Western Conference champions. The Flames take a hit in the month of November, but it was October that started off really well for the Calgary Flames. You can see right here, it started off with an 8-3-0 record in this month of October. Very solid month here, but as soon as we hit November, we started off with 2 straight losses, then we bounced back with 2 straight wins. We looked like we were okay, but then we just went inconsistent. A loss, a win, 2 losses, 2 wins, another loss, another win here against Dallas, and then a loss, a win, and a loss. So you can see we're just basically going back and forth between losses and wins in the month of November. That saw us go from 8-3-0 in October to 7-8-0 in November. So yes, in this month of November, we slipped just below 500. Not good for a team that wants to be a contending Stanley Cup team once again in the Western Conference. So like I said, welcome to episode 30. It is the 30th episode of our franchise mode with the Calgary Flames. We are 3 seasons deep into our tenure as the GM here at the Calgary Flames, and we are looking to win the Stanley Cup as obvious as we did get there last year into Game 7, I should say, but we lost by just 1 goal. But we're obviously looking to get ourselves back there. You can see in this divisional standings, and we'll take a look here. I know we did take a look at this at the end of the last episode, in episode 29, but we'll take another look here quickly. You can see we are sitting there with 30 points through 26 games. That's good enough for 5th in our division. Obviously, we want to be atop our division. There's no reason we can't be leading our division right now. We are 5 points back of the leaders, which are the Arizona Coyotes and the Edmonton Oilers. You can see they're 30 points back of the Canucks, 1 point back of the Anaheim Ducks. But you can see there's no reason we can't be. If that month of November was slightly better than it was for us, in which we went pretty much 500. If we continued on the pace that we did in October, there's no reason we couldn't have been atop our division by a wide margin too. So don't forget, the Calgary Flames have not won a divisional title since about 2005, I believe was the last time. They have not won a divisional title in almost 15 years. It's kind of crazy to think about, because I mean, even before they were in this Pacific Division, where there's 8 teams in this Pacific Division, when they were in the Northwestern Division, there was only 4 or 5 teams, and they even then they couldn't finish first in their division since 2005. Now, not that matters, but there's no reason the Calgary Flames can't be competing for a divisional title with the type of team that they have now, especially with the type of team that we have built for ourselves and the type of contending team that we are. We should be atop our division pretty easily as well. So I wanted to go on the screen because of that month of November, we did go 7-8-0. There has been some obviously a big drop off in our play since October. So I just want to see maybe where we went wrong, and I'm going to take a look, because we didn't do this in the last episode, but let's take a look at such things like our power play and our penalty kill. Let's see where we're struggling, because there we are, 16th in the NHL. We got to be atop the NHL at this point. So obviously, we have to boost ourselves here in the next couple months to get back atop the back to being one of the top teams, I should say, in the NHL. So let's take a look at goals for. We have 84 goals for. Just looking at it right now, that looks like we should be near the top. So let's take a look here. We're the number 1 team in terms of goals for. So we're not having trouble scoring. We're averaging 3.23 goals a game. That's obviously pretty good. Whenever you're atop the NHL in any department, you're obviously doing the right thing. So we're number 1 in the NHL. You can see, though, 16th place. There's no reason we should be in the 16th place and being the number 1 team in terms of goals for. So it's probably goals against. So we have allowed 56 goals against. So let's take a look here at where we rank. So this is the top. Let's see if we're closer to the bottom. So we actually are. We're actually the 3rd best team in goals against, averaging just 2.15 goals against. So this is I don't know what to say. This is weird because we are the number one team in terms of goals for, and we are the third best team in terms of goals against. So we're actually not struggling at all in really in those departments, and those are the two key departments when you look at where your team's struggling. Is your team scoring enough, and is your team letting in too many goals? That's not the case. So that does not give us a clear explanation of what happened in the month of November of why we went 7-8-0. Let's take a look at our power play, and again, already looking at the fact that we have a 27.4% power play that should be tops in the NHL. So let's take a look, and it is. We are tied with, we are 1.1% better than the Nashville Predators. So you can see we have scored 23 power play goals this season on 84 attempts. So again, we are operating with the league's best power play in the NHL. That shouldn't be a surprise considering we are the league's best offense in the NHL in terms of goals for. So again, no concern there. Number one in the NHL, and our PK 91.2. That should be atop the NHL as well, and it is. Number one in the NHL, 91.2. We've only allowed 5 power play goals against on 57 times that we were short-handed. So this is incredible. Like, we actually have some very, very good numbers. You can see here is our home record, 9-5-0, and our away record is where we have struggled. We are 6-6-0. So we are 500 on the road, but you can see in our last 10, we've gone 5-5-0. So we are 500 in our last 10. So looking at that, that's really like I don't know what to say. That's just it's weird because we are the best team in terms of goals for. We are the third best team in terms of goals against. We are the best team in the NHL, number one in the power play, and number one on the penalty kill. So we are not struggling right now at all, like in any department. So that's weird because, I mean, you take a look at where we've gone wrong here, and it's just the inconsistency factor. Like I said, look at this month of November alone: 2 losses, 2 wins, a loss, a win, 2 losses, 2 wins, a loss, a win, a loss, and then a win and a loss. So we've literally just gone back and forth, and we've had a couple losses combined, but we've also had a couple wins combined. So this is very strange because we are not allowing a lot of goals. We are scoring a lot of goals. Our power plays number one. Our penalty kills number one, and we are still where we are in the standings. So very weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like our numbers are adding up. But for some reason we are where we are in the standings. We have just been inconsistent. So that's clearly the only reason we are sitting 16th right now in the NHL instead of sitting around number one in the NHL. So we're just going to move on here. We're going to get into the month of December. There's not much we can do in terms of making changes. We definitely don't need to go out and make any changes in terms of lineup changes. We have tinkered with our lineup just a little bit in that last episode. Most notably, we probably brought up Spencer Fu. We replaced Chris Versteeg. He really has been struggling. Lee Stepniak has come in for Chris Versteeg. So Versteeg has been a healthy scratch for most of the latter part of that episode. Episode 29, Spencer Fu was promoted to the third line because he's having a great season there. 5 goals, 9 assists, +8 for Spencer Fu in his rookie season. He's been playing alongside Jankowski and Mangiapane. I think these two have struggled just a tiny bit here in the plus-minus category. This second line's been quite inconsistent. They've had really good nights. They've had really okay nights. Same with this top line, actually. They've had super good nights, and then they've also had nights where they've just been invisible. So that's kind of the problem. These two lines are kind of being inconsistent. That's kind of making our entire team inconsistent, if you will. In terms of defense, I really haven't had too much problem with our top 4. Brody and Bean had dropped off a little bit. They've struggled a little bit. Thought maybe of switching maybe Giordano and Brody around, or flip those pairings around. Cuckoo and Chillington and Anderson, we've just played with a third pairing a bit. And John Gibson's actually been pretty excellent in terms of goal. Gibson's had a pretty good start with us, obviously, with the Calgary Flames. You can see here through 25 games, he's got 14-10-0 with a .928 save percentage, a .204 goals against. So he's actually had a very good start. That's actually some of his career best numbers, although he's only 25 games in. He is performing really well, as we expected when we went out and got him. So we really don't have any problems on our lineup, like just a few minor problems that we've been tinkering with, but other than that, there really hasn't been too much else going on. So again, there's not much we can do right now. We just have to jump into December and hope that things turn back around like they did in October. Hope that we can fix this inconsistency. And like I said in the last episode, we did start off last year as well the exact same way. We did really well in the month of October, very hot start, and then we dropped off in November and dropped off in December and a little bit in January, and then picked our socks back up there in February, March, and April, and got ourselves back to atop the NHL standings. We finished second in our division last year, but I don't want to get to that point like where we have to really pick it up in January or February. Why not propel ourselves now while we can and just stay ahead of the race the whole way? That'd be great. So I don't know why we always drop off in November and December. But let's hope let's hope it was just November this time around. Let's hope we can turn it around here in December. So let's start the month of December without any further ado. We are jumping right in. San Jose Sharks, Calgary Flames, divisional opponent. So let's get first period out of the way. Blake Wheeler scores, and it's beating former Calgary Hitman Martin Jones, 1-0 Flames. Second period, they get a goal, Nikolai Kulemin, but we get two more from Sean Monahan. That's good. Do we hang on in the third period? We do. 3-1 is the final, and obviously we will take that. So pretty good start there for us to the month of December, but it is the inconsistency that looks like it's continuing because we did lose the last game. Now we're winning. Let's just hope we got to string wins together. That's the thing we got to do here. So 957 there for Gibson. That's what we gotta focus on here, because like I said, there's what else do we do? Our power play's number one, penalty kill, right? Everything's number one, pretty much in the NHL. So I mean, we really, there's not much we can do at this point. So we are welcoming the 8-12 and something 8-14-2 Toronto Maple Leafs. So the defending two-time President's Trophy winners and the Stanley Cup champions from 2 seasons ago are really, really struggling to start off the season. They're 8-14-2. They are last place, as you can see down there in their divisional standings in the Atlantic. So that's pretty shocking to say the least. So what I want to do is I want to put Anton Khobin back in. We did give him a game there at the end of the month, but I do want to give Khobin a few games here. And on back-to-back nights against a bottom feeder in the NHL, there's no reason we can't put Khobin back into this one and then put Gibson back in versus St. Louis. So let's give Khobin some time. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep this close to realistic as possible, where we don't play Gibson more than I don't want to play Gibson more than 70 games this season. We're going to ride Gibson a lot, but let's see if we can keep it under 70 games. Realistically, in the real world, he probably wouldn't play more than 60 games. So obviously, it has not been a good start for Khobin in this one. Enough Van Riemsdyk and Kirby Reichel make it 3-0 in the first period. Second period, do we bounce back? Nothing. And the third period, we do bounce back and tie this game up at 4. So Sean Monahan scores. Patrick Marleau for them, and then Tyler Ennis, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sean Monahan once again. Monahan hot. I believe that's 4 goals in the last 2 games for him. So that's pretty good. We force overtime. So this is huge. I mean, this is a bottom team in the NHL. There's no reason we should have lost this one. We do have a chance to steal 2 points here out of this one after being down 3-0 in this hockey game. So do we get it done in overtime? Nothing in overtime. Do we get it done in the shootout? And we don't. They get 2 goals, Matthews and Shoshnikov, and John Tavares scores for us. But they win it 5-4. So obviously I'm not happy with the fact that we just dropped a game to the worst team, one of the worst teams in the NHL. But we did find a way to steal at least 1 point. And again, that's what I'm talking about. At this point, we just got to worry about stringing together some points and more importantly, some wins. For being where we are, we need to start to pick it up. So Khobin actually finishes with a .905 save percentage. A pretty bad start for him, letting in 3 goals there in the first period. Again, to one of the worst teams in the NHL at this point in the Toronto Maple Leafs. But that is okay. I just wanted to see what Khobin had, maybe give Gibson just a little bit of time off, and we're going to do that, like I said, as the season goes on, when we've got back-to-back nights here and there. I'm going to give Khobin some games, try and keep it realistic, like I said, but obviously we're going to ride Gibson for the most of this season. So let's get ourselves, so we do take the shootout loss. Again, I'm not going to solely blame the inconsistency for this one because I did put Cahoban in net. Cahoban is not even close to our starting goalie anyway. Let's not forget that he was only 70 something. He's not meant to be probably even a good NHL backup. We just signed him because we needed a backup goalie. So we had no other choice. So I was thinking of making a lineup change, but let's not. Let's just jump right into St. Louis. 12-8-6 are the Blues. We got to bounce back here with a win. We did steal a point against the Maple Leafs, but we do need to get a win here. As the first period against the Blues, Gibson's back in net. Wheeler scores, beating Allen. 1-0 Flames. Second period, they get 2. Teddy Burchell and Zach Sanford. Let's see if we can bounce back here in the third and steal this one. Come on, Calgary Flames. We do tie it. So once again, we have forced overtime for the second consecutive game. Johnny Gaudreau. Can we finish this one off this time? Come on, Flames. Come on. Nothing. Do we finish off in the shootout? No, we don't. They scored Vladimir Tarasenko, and that is back-to-back shootout losses for the Calgary Flames. We do find a way to get 2 out of a possible 4 points in these last 2 games, but there's no reason we can't be getting 2 especially against teams like Toronto. So I know St. Louis was a better team, but we got to start stringing together the wins here. That's what we need. 2 point there for Blake Wheeler, and Gibson back in goal, 9-3-9. Really good night for John Gibson. We just really couldn't get it done in terms of offense in this one. We'll move on to New Jersey. So we do start off with a 1-0-2 record here in the month of December. We have technically not lost a game in regulation, in which we haven't picked up a point. But again, possible 6 points on the table here, and we walk away with only 4 in those first 3 games. I want to be walking away with a lot closer to 6 out of 6 every time. So now we've got the Devils, 13-13-2. They're 500. This should be a bounce back win for us. We got to start stringing some wins together. You can see after New Jersey, we go on a bit of a road trip: Chicago, Columbus, New York, Pittsburgh, Philly, Carolina. So that is a 6-gamer or 5-game road trip coming up. So this would be a good time to start a streak and going streaking for the Calgary Flames. But it starts here with the New Jersey Devils. So again, not going to make lineup changes just yet. Let's see how this game goes against New Jersey. But we got to find a way to start stringing together some wins here and boost ourselves back up in the standings. So first period against the Devils, 2 goals for us, Neal and Gaudreau. Calgary native Taylor Hall getting on the board for the Devils. Second period, nothing. Third period, come on Calgary Flames. Wow, they score 3 unanswered to win this one 4-2. Hall with the hat trick. Palmieri chips in a goal. And that's that. So a good night for the return to his hometown for Taylor Hall, for the New Jersey Devils superstar. But obviously, for us, not a good night at all. So no reason we couldn't have had this one. -3 for Slater Cuckoo and Oliver Chillington. Jankowski's line struggling once again. Andrew Mangiapane and Jankowski in the minuses. Oh, that's just not good. 8-6-7, pretty poor night there for John Gibson in terms of his standards. And again, the inconsistency has just taken over. So we have to find a way to shake this off here. Maybe a 5-game road trip to the East is exactly what we need. So we'll see if it is. That's going to dominate most of the month of December for us. So let's see if we can get it done. So first things first is we're going to go make up a couple lineup changes, because we've just dropped 3 games straight, despite picking up points in 2 of them. We have dropped, and you can see now we are 5th again in our division. Where are we here? 5th in our division. We've slipped out of a wild card spot, at this point, although we are tied with Anaheim there. But again, we are starting to fall further away from Edmonton and Arizona. They're at the top, that are 43 points, almost 10 points up on us. We want to be a lot closer to them, so we really got to start pulling up our socks here and boosting ourselves in the standings. So we got to pick up our play here. This is pretty bad for a contending team. We got to realize where our expectations are into this season. Our window is now. We've got the talent now to win the Stanley Cup. We brought in veterans to do it now, so we have to start winning. So this line, again, struggling. Fu, Jankowski, especially Jankowski and Mangiapane. So what we will do is we'll try switching Ennis and Mangiapane around, see if that makes a slight difference. Just playing with our lines down here. Let's take out Lee Stepniak. Let's bring in Christopher Steeg. We'll give the veteran another shot here on the 4th line. Let's go to defense here. And let's take out Chillington or Cuckoo. They both struggled as of late. Slater Cuckoo is a -6. So let's take him out. Let's bring in Rasmus Anderson here. And we will, go like that. Okay, so Chillington and Anderson. Chillington's left. Anderson is right shot. yeah, we'll do that for now. We'll start the road trip like that, and then we'll go from there. But again, we have to start stringing some wins together here. So this is huge. So let's jump right in. You can see 30 points in 30 games for Johnny Gaudreau. He's getting it done offensively as always. But let's start the road trip off on the right foot here. Sean Monahan scores very early into this one. 1-0 Flames. We finished the first period tied with the Chicago Blackhawks. Taves gets on the board. So it is 1-1. Come on, Calgary Flames. Second period. 2 more goals. James Neal and Jonathan Taves with his second. Can we pull through on the third period? This is a huge third period. Calgary Flames, come on. And once again, we are going to overtime. Hamilton and Sharp. Here we go. Overtime. We have to find a way to start winning these overtime games. Come on, Flames. And we do. John Tavares, Mr. Overtime for the Calgary Flames. Or I guess that's Sean Monahan. We'll call Tavares clutch when it comes to overtime, because he has been ever since he's come over last season with the Calgary Flames. But anyways, we do win this one. Finally, we get a win. And get a win in overtime. So that is huge. Not a good night for Chillington, -2. But we do finish off this one. 2-point night there for Kachuk, Monahan, Hamilton, and Giordano. And 8-7-5. So not the best night there for John Gibson. That's kind of weird, because that's 2 games in a row now that John Gibson has been below 900 in the save percentage. And that's very uncharacteristic of our superstar goaltender. I don't think giving Cahoban that game had anything to do with it. That was more just rest for Gibson. But since coming back, he has not. Gibson has not been that good in the 3 games since he's come back from Cahoban's game. Excuse me. But anyways, we'll see if he can pick it up here as we roll into Columbus. We're 1-for-1 right now on the road trip. Can we make it 2-for-1? So let's go here. Same game. 18-11-3 are the Columbus Blue Jackets. So let's start this one. First period in Columbus, Ohio. They get on the board first. Valtteri Filppula beats John Gibson. Second period. Come on, Calgary Flames. Nothing. Come on, Flames. We got to get something here in the third. Come on. And we do. We tie it up. Once again, we're going to overtime. Gaudreau beats Corpusalo. Do we have another overtime winner in us? Nothing in the shootout this time. We do. We finally win a game in the shootout for the first time this season. John Tavares, once again, Mr. Clutch gets it done. So that's 2 straight wins for us, despite them both being in extra time. Doesn't matter. They're Eastern teams. We will take it. I guess Chicago's not an Eastern team, but we will take it at the end of the day. And we will finish this one with a 2-1 win, but we should be doing slightly better. There's a better night for a better response, by John Gibson. But now we have seemed to drop off on our goals scored this month. In fact, we haven't. Well, we put up. We did put up 3 there, 2, 4 against Toronto. I guess I was going to say we may have dropped off from being the number 1 team in terms of goals for in the NHL, but we should still probably be top 5. Haven't dropped off that much. So back-to-back nights here against the Rangers and the Penguins. I think we'll give Gibson both of these games, especially if he plays good here against the Rangers. And then Flyers, Carolina. So we won't worry about giving Cahoban a game here. But we got to start stringing together wins. We've got a couple wins there in a row. Let's see if we can make it 3 in a row. Flames, Rangers from MSG. Come on, Flames. We get 2 there, Ennis and Neal. Brady Shea getting on the board for them. Second period, come on, Flames. Another 2, Gaudreau and Ennis. They do get 1 more. Do we hang on? We have a 2-goal lead. Do we hang on in the third period? It looks like we will, but quite a few more goals scored. So I'm not happy that we allowed them to get a couple more there, including one by Ryan McDonough. But then we come through Brody, Gaudreau, Neal, and Mangiapane. Should definitely solidify the fact that we should be the number 1 team in terms of goals for. We do put up 8 against the New York Rangers. We do allow 4, so that is not good to allow 4. But all around a pretty good night, despite letting in 4, we do put up 8. So we do double up the Rangers. 3-point night there for Johnny Gaudreau. 2-point night for Bean, Monahan, Neal, Tavares, and the list goes on. Fu, Ennis, and Hamilton. Ennis has fit in nicely on the third line. That's far. 8-7-9. So yeah, obviously when letting in 40 goals, Gibson's numbers drop again below 500. So let's give Gibson this Pittsburgh game. But I mean, if he's struggling, maybe we'll give Cahoban either Philadelphia or Carolina. But let's give him this Pittsburgh game here. And again, we've put together 3 wins in a row, so I'm not complaining, but we need to just continue that now. Again, we got to pick up our consistency a bit. So let's see if we can make it 4 in a row here against Pittsburgh on this road trip. So come on, Calgary Flames. First period, we do get 3. Jankowski, Neal, and Gaudreau. They respond by 1 by Phil the Thrill. Second period, come on, Flames. There we go. 2 more huge goals. Hamilton and Brody beating Tristan Jarry. Do we hang on in the third period? We have a 5-1 lead. We'll make it 6-1. Matthew Tkachuk getting in on the scoring, and the Calgary Flames improve to 4-0 on this road trip. So that's what I'm liking to see. Now we're starting to string together some wins. That's all that matters, and that's what I like to see. So Monahan, Gaudreau, Neal, Tavares all having good nights. Tkachuk multi-point nights. Monahan a 3-point night there, and Gibson another good night there, 9-5-8. So I think maybe we'll leave Gibson in again. 4 in a row. And that's good. We're starting to string together some wins. So can we make it 5 in a row against the Philadelphia Flyers here? We got to find a way to do just that. Because again, we got to start picking up our play here and start boosting ourselves in the standings. This 6-game road trip could be massive if we can go a perfect 6 for 6. But even going 5 for 6, I'll take that. Can we make it 5 for 5 right now against the Flyers? First period, we get on the board first, but so does Nolan Patrick, Tavares and Patrick, former Flame Brian Elliott in net. Second period, come on Flames, nothing in the second. Do we hang on in the third? Nothing in the third, so we're going to overtime once again. Can we pull through once again? Where's John Tavares? He's not there. How about the shootout, John Tavares? And they get it. Sam Bennett, the former Flame, gets the shootout goal. So does Shane Gostisbehere, and Sean Monahan scores. But we lose this one 2-1. So we do pick up a point against the Flyers. But again, we have dropped to 4-0-1 on this road trip. And again, former Flame Sam Bennett always seems to be a factor in this one. You'll remember he scored a goal in the first meeting of the season in his return back to Calgary early in the month of October. And he scores a shootout, possible shootout winner here, although I think it was Shane Gostisbehere with the winner. But he does score a shootout goal for the Flyers there. So that's all we will see of Sam Bennett in this season. So it looks like he's doing okay in Philadelphia. We've only seen him twice, though. We'll check in on Bennett later. But yeah, we have got 4-0-1 on this road trip. Can we finish off 5-0-1? At least finish off this road trip as close to perfect as possible against the Carolina Hurricanes. So let's see if we can do that. We have picked up points in 5 straight, so that's what we like to see. But let's finish strong with the win here. Come on, we got to fight that inconsistency. Tavares makes it 1-0 early. We get just that goal. Sebastian Aho scores 2 more in that period. 2-1 going into the second period. Nothing. Do we pull back? Come on, huge comeback here in the third period. Come on, Flames. There it is. Spencer Fu, John Tavares, and Chris Versteeg. So Tavares will finish with the Hattie, Versteeg, and Spencer Fu chip in, and we pull away with 4 unanswered in the third period to get a 5-2 win, I believe it was there. So again, hat trick there for Sean Tavares, Sean Monahan 2-point night, and pretty good night all around. 9-5-1 for John Gibson. He seemed to have got his game back a little bit since dropping off there slightly to start the month, but he has seemed to pick up his game. So pretty good road trip after dropping 3 straight there to the Leafs, Blues, and Devils. We go back and we respond with a pretty good road trip, going 5-0-1. So 5-0-1 on a 6-game road trip. I'll take that. That's pretty good. We picked up points in all of them. We only lost 1 point, obviously, and that was to the Philadelphia Flyers. So 3-day break here before we take on the Sharks. But a pretty good road trip. That road trip should start to help us propel ourselves back into the tops of our standings. So we'll take a look at the standings here in a second. Let me just 5 weeks there to the queue. But yeah, we're back home. We got the Sharks, the Knights, the Oilers, and then the Coyotes and the Kings are in the next months. But that's 6. What is that? Yeah, 6 straight divisional games coming up. So that's going to be huge. These next 6 games are. That 6-game road trip was huge, but these next 6 games are going to be huge because we're playing all these divisional teams here coming up here. So including games against the Oilers, I believe, and was there any against the Coyotes? Oilers, I don't think there was any against the Canucks, but you can see the Ducks, the Knights, and the Sharks, teams that are below us. and then obviously the Oilers, who are just ahead of us. So yeah, take a look there at the standings. We're 45th, 45 points, excuse me, 45th. We're 4th in our division standing, just a couple points back of the Canucks and the Coyotes, and even the Oilers, not too far to stretch now at 51 points to lead our division. But we should be up there with Edmonton atop our division, no doubt about it. So hopefully we, but that road trip definitely helped. I mean, we were sitting 5th. I know we only moved up by 1 spot, but that road trip helped. You can see we're 5 points clear of Anaheim for 4th in our division. So that did help us bring us back into the conversation of the top teams in our division. Now we just got to start jumping some of these teams like the Canucks, Coyotes, and Oilers and get back to the top of our division. And like I said, we got 6 huge divisional games coming up now. Most of them at home, but 6 divisional games. Let's take a look at it again here quickly. Yeah, so Sharks, Knights, Oilers, and then yeah, we do have the Coyotes. That's what I thought. And then the Kings and the Golden Knights there to start the month of January. And then we actually have our 5-day break, and then another divisional game. So actually, what is that? 7 straight divisional games as Canucks technically count. Yeah, so that's January, but we'll go up to obviously here the start of the new year. We'll finish off the year of 2019 with 4 straight divisional games. So let's jump into those 4 straight divisional games. Like I said, this is huge. We got the Golden Knights and the Sharks that are just below us in the standings. We can really separate ourselves with 2 points in regulation in both of those games each. And then if we can find a way to win both of these games against the Coyotes and the Oilers and not give them any points, we should be able to get ourselves atop our division with Edmonton. Especially this Edmonton game is going to be huge. But let's start with this San Jose game. Let's jump right in. Like I said, 4 straight divisional games to end off the month. We've got to find a way to go 4-0 on this this little home stand or divisional stand, if you will. So first period, Flames, Sharks. We do get to Neil and Brody. Brett Burns responds for them. Second period, come on, Calgary, hang on. Third period, please hang on. And we do. We score 1 more. They score 1 more. It was a close one, but we battle in this one and get a 3-2 win. The captain, Mark Giordano, with the game winner in this one. So there we go. We start off with a W on this 6-7 game divisional stand. That's what you like to see. Another 2-point for Sean Monahan. He's quietly been pretty good here in this month of December for us. Probably leading us in points in this month of December. So he should be near the top of our team in this one. Excuse me, in terms of scoring. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Okay, so let's get to Vegas here. But yeah, that's huge. Like I said, we can keep these teams that are just below us in the standings below us, keep pushing them back, and then we should be able to reach Edmonton and Arizona. So let's get into Vegas Golden Knights here. Same game. We're on a mini 2-game winning streak, mini 7-game point streak, if you will. Let's go first period. So we do get a goal, but they get 2. William Carson, and Riley Smith. Mark Jankowski for us. Second period, come on Flames, hang on. Jankowski, they score 1 more. Alex Tuxel. Now we have to come through here in the third period with a comeback win here. Can we get it done, Calgary Flames? We don't. So unfortunately, we can't get it done there in the third period. We dropped this one. That's our first loss in quite a while in regulation. Snapping our 7-game point streak, but obviously, it was bound to happen eventually. Anderson and Chillington struggling a little bit in that one, so maybe we'll bring Slater Cuckoo in quickly, but 875, yeah, John Gibson struggling a little bit as well. But it was a pretty impressive, 7-game streak there? 7-game point streak for us. That really did help us. The Golden Knights are pretty far back of us, I believe, too. So I'm not too concerned. Yeah, Golden Knights are 27 points there, so they're pretty far back of us. I didn't care about giving them 2 points. I just wish we could have picked up the 2 points. We stay 4th in our division. But again, you can see we're just a couple points back there. Vancouver, Arizona at 51, Edmonton at 55, and we're going to face all 3 of those teams coming up, especially Arizona and Edmonton. Those are going to be big games. But we actually have Edmonton next. But let's quickly take out either Chillington or Anderson. Just bring in Slater Cuckoo. Anderson, what's your numbers at? -2, and Chillington -3. I know Chillington's played less games, but we'll take him out and we'll bring in Slater Cuckoo. Put him back into this one. And let's see if we can win these next couple games. Like I said, these are going to be the huge games for us. Edmonton and Arizona, the two top teams in our division. If we want to be up there with them, we got to win both of these games in regulation. So here we go, Edmonton Oilers. This will probably be the biggest game of the season to date. So let's get right into it. We got to sim up to this day first. So we finish off the new year, or the year, by playing the Oilers and the Coyotes, the two top teams in our division that we want to be atop with. So like I said, these are must-wins in regulation at this point. So come on, Calgary Flames. Let's see if we can get it done. Here we go. First period. 2 goals. There we go. Johnny Gaudreau, Jake Bean. That's what I'd like to see. Second period. Come on, Flames. Another goal, but McDavid does also score. Wheeler scores for us. 3-1. Do we hang on in the third period? They tie it up. We get a goal. So they almost tie it up. Nolan and Kajula score, but James the Real Deal Neal comes through for us, and we win a massive game in regulation. I thought they were going to force overtime there for sure. But obviously, Neal scores, and we find a way to win this one. So that's a huge game. That's a game that you just got to find a way to win against a top team in the league, and we did just that. So 2 points for a number of guys here. Like I said, there's another 2-point night for Sean Monahan. And then a really good night there for John Gibson. 9-1-9. So that's what we like to see. We needed that one, but we also need this next one here against the Coyotes. 24-11-4. You can see again, in that divisional standings, we did hold the Oilers at 55 points. We did get to 49, but Vancouver's winning now. So they pull ahead, or continue to pull ahead of us. Where are we here? Come on. 51. So we're still 2 points back at the Canucks. They won again. So we got to find a way to win again. And there's the Coyotes at, if it would stop moving, for fuck's sakes. There they are at 52. Our division's really strong this year, so that's it's good to see. But yeah, we got to continue. Every team keeps winning. We did it again, like I said, we held the Oilers back, but we got to find a way to keep on winning, because the Canucks and the Coyotes just keep on winning. Like the top teams in our division, they just keep on winning. So we have to do the same, especially in these head-to-head matchups. We got the Canucks coming up. In fact, I think we see them twice in the span of like 2 weeks coming up. But this is going to be a huge game, just like that Edmonton game. Can we beat the Coyotes? Come on, Flames. They score first. Duclair Tavares gets on the board for us. Come on, Flames. There's a huge goal by Johnny Gaudreau in the second. Do we hang on in the third period? We do. 2 more goals. Tavares and Gaudreau, that top line just dominates this game. Chikrin scores for them, but it is our top line that comes through in such a big divisional game once again for the Calgary Flames. Back-to-back huge divisional games, back-to-back wins in regulation. 4-point night for John Tavares, 3-point night for Johnny Gaudreau. Blake Wheeler did chip in with just 1 point, but that top line really strong in this one. A 9-4-1. Gibson really strong as well. That's huge. That is huge. We have just responded with 2 massive divisional games, and we are still only 4th in our division. We're tied technically with the Canucks, though, and we're only 1 point back of the Coyotes, and only 4 now back of the Oilers. So, despite still being in 4th, we have really pulled ourselves a lot closer to where we want to be, and that's with these top teams. Obviously, we finish off the month very strong with 2 huge divisional wins. Let's take a look quickly at it here. 2 huge divisional wins against teams that we needed to, that we were chasing, that we needed to beat in regulation, and we did just that. We did beat the Sharks in regulation too, lost to the Golden Knights. That would have been nice if we could have had those 2 points, but all in all, that was a pretty good month for us here in, a pretty good response here in December. After a very shaky November, we've got our game back to where it needs to be here in December. So that is good. What do we go here? We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Just looking at our losses here. 1, 2. So we go 9, 2, and 1. 9, 2, and 1? 9, 2, and 2. Because there's a shootout loss to the Flyers there. So 9, 2, and 2. Just quickly looking at our calendar there, we go 9, 2, and 2 in the month of December. So we go 8, 3, and 0 in October, 7, 8, and 0 in November, and then we respond and get back to 9, 2, and 2 here in December. So really good month of December. Helps us get back atop our division standings. Like I said, we sit in 4th, but realistically, we're within points of all those the three teams ahead of us. Excuse me. You can see here coming into January. We'll pick this up in the next episode, by the way. But coming into January, the Kings, the Knights. So again, 2 more divisional games. But there are those 2 games against the Canucks I was talking about. So we see the Canucks twice in the month of January. Those are going to be huge head-to-head matchups. A little bit of a lighter month because we do have our bye week early on in the month of January. But some big divisional games coming up, keeping the Kings and Knights back of us. 2 big games against the Canucks there. And then if we can continue to string together some wins here in the month of January. Not a lot of games, but we want to get done. Busy month of February, as always, heading into the trade deadline on the 28th. Busy month of March, as always, as you can see there. And then April. And we finish off April, 2 straight games against the Oilers. That could be a battle for top spot in the Pacific when it's all said and done. But that's pretty far away right now. We're about halfway through the season, just about. And we are 4th in our division, but like I said, we're not too far behind. Only 1 point back of Arizona, who's second. We're actually tied with Vancouver, but we've played 1 more game than they did, so that's why we sit 4th. And we're only on 4 points back of the Oilers, who sit number 1 in our division. So again, we're going to end this episode here, but we'll quickly finish off by looking, since we are about halfway through the season. Let's take a look here at the standings one more time. So yeah, we've played 40 games, so 1 game below the halfway point of the season. But you can see there, 51 points. I just want to see where we are in the West. Is our division? Yeah, our division's pretty much dominating. So again, we are with the Oilers, Coyotes, and Canucks. We're the 4 top teams in the Western Conference. Not only just in our division, but the conference. The Predators are tied with us with 51 points as well. They played 1 more game. The Chicago Blackhawks at 50 points. St. Louis. So we are definitely the stronger division in the Western Conference. In the NHL, we're also atop the NHL. So again, our division really, especially our top 4 teams in our division, which include us, are just dominating right now, especially in the overall standings. You can see the Flyers are up there as well, but there is the Oilers leading us, the Coyotes, Canucks, the Lightning, and then there's us at 6. So we started this episode in 16th. We're now 6th. So this is a lot better. This is this is just better. This is where we should be. We should be a top 10 team for sure, but we should even be a top 5 team. And there's no reason we can't be near number 1 this season in our division. We could be competing for a President's Trophy. I'm just saying. We should be competing for a divisional title, and we should be competing for a President's Trophy. We're a contending team. We're one of the top teams. We're built to be one of the top teams. So we got to get ourselves back up there. This was a massive episode. We've finally improved ourselves. I was really concerned about that month of November. I didn't know if it was going to carry over into December, but it seems like we picked up our socks. I think that 6-game road trip had a huge part of it. That's exactly what we needed, was that 6-game road trip to propel ourselves a little bit higher in the standings. We'll just take a quick look at the stats at the halfway point of the season. So there's Johnny Gaudreau leading us with 43 points, 1 goal away from the 20 mark, as is John Tavares, 43 points and 1 goal away from the 20 mark. So both identical on that top line. As expected, these 2 leading the way for us. Sean Monahan really picking it up in this month, 34 points there, as you can see. 34 as well for Blake Wheeler, 31 there for Dougie Hamilton. And then James Neal, 16 goals on the second line there, 25 points. Kachuk, a little bit of a drop-off, especially from his last season, just 6 goals and 24 points. So that's a bit of a concern, but hey, again, we're getting it done offensively, so I'm not complaining. Jake B, 25 points. That's what we expected. There's Spencer Fu in his rookie season. He's dropped off a little bit since the first couple months, but hey, he's still having a pretty good, solid rookie season on the third line. Liking that plus 6 and 21 points. TJ Brody, 19. Tyler Ennis, he got promoted to that third line. He's looking good there, 15 points and plus 5, excuse me. When we come down to here, there's Giordano. There we go. Jankowski and Mangiapane still continue to struggle. They're in the minuses for us, just 12 and 9 points respectively. So I'll have to keep an eye on that fourth line down here, as you can see down here, as expected, and Chillington as well. And Slater Cuckoo continues to be in the minuses there as well. So a couple guys down here. Versteeg still struggles, but we haven't played Versteeg a lot. Parkett, Stepniak, Anderson's a little bit better than Slater Cuckoo right now. Slater Cuckoo and Rasmus Anderson actually both played 29 games. Anderson is a -1, Cuckoo a -5. Chillington's played 22 and is a -3. So, yeah, they're about all the same. We're just going to continue to rotate those three on the third pairing because there's not much more we can do at this point. We just got to keep finding ways to win. That's all we got to do. 38 games played right now, 23-12 and 2 for John Gibson, 9-2-8. Really good start to his career with the Calgary Flames for John Gibson. He's really getting it done. We can't be complaining at all about John Gibson because he's getting it done between the pipes. So like I said, we have not had a goalie like Gibson since the days of Mika Kiprusoff. So finally, we've brought in a solidified elite #1 superstar goalie that's going to be with us for a long time, and he's doing exactly what we've asked for. So we can't be complaining there. We did give up a lot for him, but it's definitely paying off. So we just got to find a way to keep winning games. Like I said, this month of December, much better. 9-2-2. What a response to that horrible month of November, in which we went 7-8-0. So we just got to find a way to keep it going here now into January and into the second half of the season. So we'll pick up things in episode 31 in the next episode there with January. Because January is such a light month, I wonder if we can get through January and February in the next episode. Get through 2 months instead of just 1 per episode. Just because January is quite a light month with that bye week. So we'll try to get through 2 months there, get ourselves right up to the trade deadline in episode 31, if possible. But I will end this episode here and start episode 31 with the new year, the year of 2020. Do we become a contender in the year of 2020? We got to find a way to get ourselves back atop our division and the NHL standings, but a much better month of December has kickstarted that, hopefully, going into the new year.